incomplete without
The one and only Harriet Whitley. Or what others might think I'm someone else.
Apparently he got the memo.
I always
Sorry,
get the memo,
guys.
my dear. Hello, everyone.
Hello.
How are you? Lovely. My name is Harriet Whitley. Believe it or not, I actually lived here. Built one of the biggest houses in the village too. But you know the problem with that? You don't pay attention to where you build it. I built it partially on a judge's property. Not too good for someone who sort of runs from the law, wouldn't you say? So what did I do? I sold my place to a man named General Rogers, who seemed to think I hid my treasure in some tunnels that were found. Rogers is up there, isn't he?
He is. I'm sorry. I don't think he knows you're here, though.
Well, that's excellent. I'm out to search for my treasure. Let's not tell him about it, okay? I'm going to try to find it first, you know, finders keepers and all. There's also another special individual here tonight. My fiancée. Giselle. Where are you, dear?
I'm right here.
Oh, look at everyone. Look at the magnificent ring I got her. Throughout the night, we'll hear some of the stories of how we met. And there might even be another special surprise later on that you're all involved in. Goody, goody. All right, well, get out of here.
Any of you, are you ill? You don't seem to have lost any appendages. Do you have the fever? I don't recognize your uniform. What regiment are you with?
Oh, my.
You don't have the typhoid, do you? I'll have to get you quarantined.
I think we've all had our shots, right?
Oh, good.
Yeah.
So you're all healthy? Oh,
Yes.
well then, let me properly introduce myself then. I am Harriet Louise Peckman Colt, and I was born to Desiree and Pegleg Peckman in 1812 in Albany, New York. I grew up there and I attended a seminary, and I would meet my husband Joseph, and we got married in 1830 at the old age of 18. I know, I was getting a little nervous. We moved to Palmyra, and Joseph was a prominent lawyer here. We would welcome our first son in 1832. Sadly, in June, we would lose him. His name was Joseph. Keep that there. In 1834, we would welcome Josephine. In 1835, we'd welcome another Joseph. I know, not too original, but we had to keep that family name going. It was very important. It would be another 10 years before we would have Annie. I was 33. Ooh. Yeah, right? In 1848, we would have our last daughter, Henrietta. Joseph retired from law in 1855, but sadly he passed away in 1857. We had served our community and loved helping others, so naturally when the Civil War broke out in 1861, I answered the call. I'd been a wife and a caretaker and a mother, and well, Henrietta was 13, so they didn't need me, so off to war I went. I attended the siege of Vicksburg in 1863 under Ulysses S. Grant. The war filled the air. You could smell the dread and the disease. But on my trip home on the steamer up the Mississippi, I had found renewed hope, caring for these young men and helping them. So when I returned home to Wisconsin, and when you're volunteering, time flies. At some point, we had moved to Wisconsin. The governor said to me, Henrietta, your job is not done. I need you to go to Cumberland. So off I went with the renowned Reverend J.P.T. Ingram. He accompanied me, and together we visited every single soldier and every regiment and every hospital in Cumberland. We didn't miss one single Wisconsin soldier out there. When the war ended, I continued to travel. I would eventually settle in Florida. In 1888, I would take my last breath and pass away. They would send me back here, and I would be reunited with Joseph, the love of my life, and we have laid to rest here in Palmyra, New York since then. I have no regrets. I lived a good life. I served my country. You won't find me in a history book. You probably didn't even know I existed here until tonight. But I'm proud of the work I did. So I have to get back to my soldier. If you're truly healthy and okay, I'll send you on your way.
Now,
I am excellent, and it's great to see everybody here.
my
How
goodness.
exciting to see all these people on such a beautiful evening. My name is Captain John Lilly, and you probably don't know me at all from any type of history in Palmyra. But, however, I do have a relationship here in Palmyra, and I'll let you know about that in just a minute. So, I was born in Boston on July 18th in 1753. My father was John Lilly, whom I'm named after, and my mother was Abigail Brecht Lilly. My father, soon after I was born, he passed away so tragically. So I was sent to live with my uncle, my maternal uncle, Samuel Brecht. Samuel Brecht was a merchant. So obviously then, just as all the others did, if your father was a merchant, you were a merchant. And I was sent for merchant training. About that time, the Revolutionary War was starting. There was problems with between the Crown and the Continental and the colonies. So, as a good patriot, I joined the Continental Army. And because I was of a fairly wealthy family, I started my career off as a second lieutenant. My ultimate goal was to be a captain, which I did later achieve. During the war, I was not able to be at Bunker Hill. However, I was in the Surge of Boston. It was a harrowing experience, but certainly that's where I learned my trade. That's where I started to learn my trade. As time went on, I would also be in the retreat of Long Island, the retreat of New Jersey, and also many battles in New Jersey. Battle of Trenton, Battle of Princeton, Battle of Monmouth, and certainly Brandywine. During my time, General Washington saw me. He thought that I was a brave soldier and a leader of men, and I was awarded a certificate of bravery. And also, General Lafayette gave me this great sword. It's ceremonial. I lost it at one time. I was so heartbroken, but I found it. Here it is. So the war, it ended up, it went on, and finally we were successful. It was a great time. Here we are, a new fledgling country. And what do? I need to do something. By that time, it was by 1796, I had 6 children. It takes a lot of money and a lot of work to take care of 6 children and a wife. So I needed to have a new occupation to make the kind of money that I needed. I became a paper maker. I also dabbled in the fur trade, and I was also in the oil business. Too bad these newfangled automobiles weren't invented. I'd have made a killing then. So anyways, that went about. I was living my life, and in 1801, I was tapped to be among the founders of West Point. So my job was to help the construction of West Point. This would be in May. By September, I had tragically passed away. I never ever got the opportunity to see the completion of West Point. So you're probably asking yourself, well, so what brings you to Palmyra? Why are you here? One of my children, Elizabeth, lived in Palmyra, and she erected a centograph. That's what this is. Do you know what a centograph is, anybody? Essentially, a centograph it's like a tombstone, but you're not buried there. It gives an honorarium of the person who was there. Not only was this centograph erected here in Palmyra, but there was another one erected in West Point. My son, my son Samuel, he was in the War of 1812, and he was aboard the USS Rattlesnake. The USS Rattlesnake was captured by the British, and unfortunately, he passed away in a British prisoner of war camp. All I can say is I'm actually glad that I had passed away ahead of that, because it would have been so tragic to see that and hear that news of my son. He also has a centograph here in West Point, and that is how I became a part of the Palmyra lore, by my little piece of concrete here, which you can barely read. but it is having to do with me. I hope you certainly enjoy the rest of your trip, and thank you very much for paying attention and listening.
Thank you. We had a rather large group tonight.
This is wonderful.
Yes.
Welcome to my restful home here. We get a little lonely here, so it's always nice to have some visitors.
I'll bet.
My name is Rogers, General Thomas Rogers. Believe it or not, I actually was not born here in Palmyra. I was born in Rhode Island, Providence Plantation, back in 1790. I know that's a long, long time ago. If you have any historians out there, you might remember 1790. We were the last of the original 13 colonies, Rhode Island, to join the new United States of America. But when I was 2 years old, my father, William Rogers, and yes, that's the Rogers, we were the family of the Rogers from the Mayflower, came to Palmyra, New York. He came here with our family, along with my two uncles, Thomas and James, and built us a home here. Now, it wasn't called Palmyra back then. It was called, it was part of the purchase of the Phelps Gorham purchase, and also the district of Tolan. It would later become Palmyra. My father actually helped survey most of the property in township, and we had property right across the way over on Hammonds Road. Back in the day, they used to call it Rogers Neighborhood. I know. You think us dead people don't know those stories, but we've heard plenty about it. So, anyway. But I was very blessed. In 1813, I married Harriet Holmes. Now, Harriet was the daughter of Peleg Holmes, another prominent gentleman from this area. And they owned property across the road on Johnson Road. I think you call it Prospect Hill now. Back then it was called Mount Holmes. But we were very fortunate. When we were first married, he built us a beautiful house right on East Main Street, on the east side of the village, on the north side. Just like many of the villages today, you might call the statelier homes the name after the family that lived there. You might call it the Rogers house, but that was not to become, because when I passed away, another gentleman purchased that house, and he lived there for the remainder of his days, and his name was Garlock. So the Garlock house is the Rogers house. Okay. We had one son. My son was very prominent in town. I'll tell you a little bit more about him. His name. He was very successful, but we'll get into that in a minute. I was actually the president for many years for the Wayne County Bank. I also had the honor at one point to make a speech for the launching of the Myron Holly. Does anybody know what the Myron Holly was? The Myron Holly was the first barge to embark on the Erie Canal from Palmyra. Okay? I also had the distinct privilege of digging the first barrow of dirt out of what would become the basement of the Presbyterian Church on Main Street, on the Four Corners. It still stands there today. Now, my son, Carlton, he was also successful after my passing. He owned a tavern on Main Street. And of course, taverns are very popular with people, wine and spirits. However, that tavern was eventually torn down, and what replaced it is still there today, and that's the Village Hall. Okay? And a lot of people don't realize it's on the corner of Cuyler. The Village Hall has an opera house upstairs. Okay? I believe it was used by the community center for a number of years. And right behind that on Cuyler Street, if you look behind the parking lot, there's another house by the school. That was my son's house. You may recall it was the library at that time. Okay, I think it's run by the school now. But enough about me. I appreciate your time. We always enjoy visitors. You're welcome anytime. God bless.
Thank you. Oh. The pressure. Yes. Oh. I bet you he's missing it on purpose.
I never miss. Except for those 2 times, but we won't talk about that. Oh. Well, my name is Frederick Henry Sanford. I was born right here in Palmyra, June the 22nd, 1867. As a child, I grew up with my brother James, raised by our parents Amos and Jane Sanford. I attended the Palmyra Classical Union School as a kid, and when I became old enough, moved to Washington, D.C., where for 3 years I served as secretary to the head of the War Department. Of course, at the same time, attending Columbia University, today known as George Washington University. But my life story would truly begin in January of 1894, that is, when I was admitted to the bar in New York City. However, I would decline this and instead leave the country altogether, moving to Brazil, where I got into the amazing business of exporting rubber. No! Well, for 5 years I worked for the New York Commercial Company, exporting rubber, but my ambitions, like rubber, needed... Ooh, that was too small. So many shapes and sizes. Rubber's an incredible substance. You know, this comes from a tree deep in the heart of the Amazon. And like my ambitions and rubber, they needed to be stretched. Ah. There we go. My first try. Thank you. And so for a year, I worked for the Chicago Bolivian Rubber Company until finally landing as head of the exporting house of Aldebert H. Alden, a position which I held from 1906 to 1913. And at the end of 1913 and in 1914, I lived in Switzerland, where I continued in the business of importing and exporting, and decided to return to the United States in 1950, where I landed in New York City, partner in a firm in... Anyone?
Palmyra?
Yes, thank you very much. So I held that position until January 1st of 1927, when I was finally able to retire. Unfortunately, however, I would pass away later that same year due to arteriosclerosis, a horrible disease where fats and cholesterol build up in the artery walls, slowly taking its victim. But that's enough doom and gloom for one evening. Let's talk about something light, something happy, something joyful. My incredible wife, Olive Terry Corning, whom I met in 1900. Her and I had one child together, whom we named Frederick. Sadly, he would pass away at the age of 18 in 1928, just 1 year after I went. Olive's father, Joseph Walker Corning, Lieutenant Joseph Walker Corning, believe me, he reminds me at every family gathering, happens to also reside in the cemetery. You may have even seen him around and about. Hopefully he's nowhere nearby. But in any case, Olive joined me here in the cemetery, finally, in 1970, and we live here today, very peaceful. That's enough about me. There's much to do. I've got some cups to pick up, apparently. But before you guys go, I was wondering, does anyone know the price of rubber these days? I'm just dying to get back into it.
Whoa! Hey, hello, how are you tonight? You're looking so sweet. Do you have a sore throat? Oh. I wonder who this new person is.
And action.
Hello.
right? That lady's standing in front of everybody. Do you see?
Cut.
Well, I really, really love being in pictures. But alas, on June 22nd, in 1922, I died. So, no talkies for me. I actually didn't start my acting career until I was 41 years old. So I hope what you learned from me is that you can start doing whatever you want at whatever age you want. I'm buried here, just back there with my family. My husband's actually buried though in Ohio, and my son all the way in California, but my parents and my other sibling is here. I just want to say thank you for coming. I really appreciate it. And remember, do whatever you want to do at whatever age you want to do it. Okay? Thanks for coming.
Thanks, Jessie.
Thank you for having me. Thank you for letting me talk.
Well, hello. Well, look at all the patients you're bringing me. Thank you. We have quite a lot for you. Oh, I love it. It will keep me busy. Hey, nice. Well, hello everyone. My name is Dr. Harriet Adams, at your service. I have been in this cemetery since 1886. You see, medicine was my calling. I was one of the first female physicians in America. I was the first female physician right here in Palmyra, in such a time when it was unacceptable for women to be doctors. You know, so many people have asked me, well, Harriet, why'd you try so hard? Well, you must do what you are called to do, no matter what the trial. So I went to school with Dr. Elizabeth Blackwell of Rochester, who is the first female doctor in America. You know, Dr. Blackwell and I, well, we broke the old mold into thinking that a woman's place is in the home. Yeah, we showed them that that just wasn't so. You know, before you came, I was reading this book. Don't know if you've heard of it or not, but it's called Palmyra and Its Vicinity. It's written by Thomas Cook. Very interesting book. He talks about every resident in every business in Palmyra, from its beginning into the 1930s. Let me repeat that. Every business and every resident in this book, except for me.
Oh, no.
Yeah. You know what? I'm not recommending this book at all to any of you. You know, in fact, this book, I think it's going to give me an aneurysm just thinking about it. Okay. So let me just get myself a little centered here. I would deliver babies for $5. My office calls, I charged 75 cents. My office was in my home, which was very typical for the day to have a business in your home. My home can be easily located right on East Main Street. It's red. But most importantly, a few months ago, a Pomeroy historical marker was placed in front of it to commemorate me, the first woman doctor of Palmyra. Also, it's just across from the O.J. Garlock home, who would buy it soon from Dr. Chase. There are many doctors here in Palmyra. We covered the whole county. We're very busy people. I practiced medicine for 30 years until a brain tumor ended my life. I was 56 years old. I had many wonderful experiences in life. I had wonderful parents. My father was a doctor who encouraged me to become what I became. I was very good friends with Pliny Sexton and Pliny T. Sexton, who are buried right here with me. They were my friends, my neighbors. It's wonderful, and it brings me joy to know that we will spend eternity with each other forever. I don't know if you just heard that, but I heard a loud scream. I hear it. My gosh, you know what that is? That's Mrs. Durfee. She's going into labor. Oh my gosh. Okay, so I'll be right there, Mrs. Durfee.
Welcome, welcome. Come on down. There's plenty of room. I won't start till everyone's here. I see some stragglers.
I don't know if we've seen you here before.
You haven't?
I don't believe so.
Well, I am glad and pleased to meet all of you. My name is Ezra Ballou Sutton, and I was born on September 17th, 1849, just down a ways in Seneca Falls. My parents had 6 children, and I was number 5. My father supported his family by working as a flour miller. How many here know that Seneca Falls used to be, back then, the 3rd leading flour capital of the world?
Wow.
Seems like some of you need to go back to school.
They
Well,
taught you that.
as a teenager, I played baseball for various amateur clubs around the Rochester area. In 1869, I joined the Alert Club of Rochester. Now, it was an amateur club, but it was part of the National Association of Baseball Players. And that year, I played against the Cleveland's Forest City Club 2 times, and I must have made quite the impression, because the next year, they recruited me to play for them. Now, by the age of 20, I had quite the reputation of being a good fielder. In fact, the Buffalo Express newspaper once wrote an article where they described me as, and I quote, the acknowledged 3rd baseman of the country, end quote. Can you believe that? I can. So in 1871, the Forest Cities joined the National Association, which happened to be the very first professional baseball league. And I was privileged to play in the very first game of that league. And on May 20th, I hit a home run in a game, and that wound up being the very first home run ever in a professional league. But I didn't stop there, folks. I hit a second home run in that very same game, and that made me the first professional baseball player to hit multiple home runs in a single game. Now, would it trouble you to let out a little roar of the crowd? Settle down, we don't want to wake up the dead. Okay? All right. So in 1873, I moved to the Philadelphia Athletics, and the following year, I was able to go travel to England and Ireland with some players from Philadelphia and Boston, and it was a sort of baseball tour, the first of its kind. And it was there where I learned to play an odd game. What is that game they play in England where it's got the flat paddles? Not golf, but it's...
Cricket?
Cricket, yes, cricket. Do we have any cricket fans here? Oh, good, good. I didn't want to see anybody here. Okay. Stick with baseball, folks. Stick with baseball. We'll skip ahead to, it was 76 when Philadelphia joined the National League. Who has heard of the National League? Yes?
Yes.
I hope that's still around, because that was another professional league for baseball players. And guess who also played in the very first game for that league? Yours truly. Thank you very much. Oh, thank you. Now we'll skip ahead to some good parts. In 1877, I signed to the Boston Red Stockings. Who's heard of them? It's a terrible name. Too long. They never listen to me when I ask them to change it. But the Boston Red Stockings, who can guess how much my salary was? Who wants to guess? What's that?
$200?
$200. Well, I'm sorry, I wouldn't have played for that little. $1,200 is what I was paid. Now, we won 2 pennants that year, or the first few years that I was in Boston, and I was also one of their more popular players. Thank you. Now, we did have a dry spell, and it wasn't until 1883 when we won our next pennant. And that was the year that I was one of the league leaders in hits, bases, runs, and many other numbers, many other high numbers in other areas. The following year, I was the lead leaguer. Boy, my tongue needs to be loosened up after being a. You have to bring me out more often, I think.
I think we do.
I was the league leader in hits the following year, and I also had upped my numbers from the previous year. Now, if you are the type of person that really enjoys looking at those numbers, and do we have anyone like that? I encourage you to go talk to your friend with a funny name, Mr. Google. Mr. Google will tell you all that there is to know about me, and you can believe every word that he says. All right. But alas, as much fun as I had in Boston, the good times do eventually end. And it was around 1887, then I was seeing more of the game from the bench. My final game was on June 20th, 1888. Now, what is a ex-professional ball player supposed to do? Well, he takes his family, his wife, 2 children, and moves them to a small farm in Palmyra. But I couldn't get the baseball out of my blood. So I continued to play baseball for some regional amateur teams, and it was about up to 1896, I believe, and that was when I started to notice the effects of a disease that was hurting my nervous system. And by the end of the decade, I had lost both my legs. They were paralyzed. And I had to depend on my family every day for support and care. And I wish that was the end of my bad luck. God, I wish it was. It was 1905, near Thanksgiving. We were at the dinner table, and a lamp exploded. Susie's dress was... I couldn't do anything about it. And she passed away 6 weeks later. And I had no one. So I was sent to a hospital in Rochester. But thankfully, I had friends, former teammates in Massachusetts that offered to help. And so I moved out there. And as you would expect, I eventually succumbed to the disease and passed away in 1907 at the age of 57. Now, I don't want to leave you with that melancholy feeling. So I want you to picture me in my younger days. On the fresh green grass, the summer air, nice crisp uniform, glove in my hand, a ball in the other, having a game of catch with my teammates. And I want you to take one other thing with you. If it wasn't for the bad times, the good times would never taste so sweet. So remember that, folks, tonight. Take care and go see a ball game.
You guys know that the town of Palmyra has tons of feral cats? Yeah. They all started with me, with my kitties. So everyone, I'm Sibyl Phelps. I was born in 1895. That makes me 130 years old. I aged pretty well, didn't I? Yeah. So I lived on Market Street with my dad, Julius, and my mom, Mamie, and my grandparents, and they're all buried right over there. That's our resting place over there. Our home, have any of you been to the Phelps?
Oh, yeah. No, sure.
Okay. It's a wonderful place. Well, we had a birthday party for me. Miss Tracy had a wonderful birthday party for me last Friday, right?
Last Friday.
And I was up to no good that night. Have any of you seen the TikTok video?
No.
Well, there was a group of women and men in our dining room, my beautiful dining room, and their hands were on the table, and all of a sudden I made the table move. It was pretty cool. You got to check it out. I'm not kidding. It really did happen.
See me later.
So let me tell you a little bit about myself. I went to the Eastman School of Music. I loved to play piano, organ. I loved to dance, but my passion was really acting. So I went off to New York City, and my Aunt Mary Louise had left me some money when she passed away. So off I go to study acting. Well, the money ran out. So I holler back to Dad, Dad, I need more money. He says, no money. He says, you got two options, marriage or you get a job. So I came back to Palmyra and I started working at the Barnhart Memorials, and they made headstones. So that was interesting. It kept me busy. The other thing that I had fun, believe it or not, I applied to be in the Ringling Barnum Bailey Circus. Can you imagine me with acrobats and elephants and tigers and oh my. But to my disappointment, they didn't hire me. So I was pretty upset. But I turned to spiritualism. I don't know if any of you are aware of that. Go to the Fox Sisters. I knew the Fox Sisters. They're good friends of mine. And as I said, I had my kitties, love all my kitties. And it's just, I've had a wonderful life. So you guys have any questions for me? Yes.
How many cats did you have?
Oh, I think I had 14 or 15 at one point.
It was 15 at one time.
Yeah, I think so.
And no allergies?
No, I didn't have an allergy. No allergies.
So no husband, no children?
No, never married. I did have a boyfriend. I did have a boyfriend.
Tell us about your boyfriend.
Oh, well, I think he worked with me at the memorial. Yeah, that's what I've heard. So,
and didn't he leave you something?
I don't know, did he?
I think didn't he leave you his rocking chair?
Oh, that's right, he did. I forgot about that.
Yes.
Yeah, we used to have some fun. And I kind of scared people in town were a little afraid of me. They really didn't quite know how to take me because I would dress like this in dark clothes and I would wander around town, but I really was a nice person. And a lot of people thought that I was nasty to my father, Julius, because we would go to the movie theater a lot. And he was hard of hearing. So I'd have to scream at him so he'd hear me, but they thought I was being nasty to him. Any other questions? Mr. Graham back there, you got any questions for me?
Oh.
You knew me, right? Back in the day, you met me.
You did yell at me once.
Did I? I yelled at you? Okay.
For sitting on the steps of the monument shop.
Oh, I'm sorry I did that. I'm so sorry. Well, thank you for visiting, and please come and visit our wonderful museums. My favorite, of course, is my home, the general store. And my father closed it in 1940, and everything is still sitting on the shelves. We even have eggs sitting on the counter from 1940. I'm not kidding. And then our residence was upstairs, so please come and visit us. Thank you.
You're right here. It's fantastic.
Oh, it's perfect.
Come with me, my dear. Come with me. Ooh, sure. Taking him at you. Welcome to our wedding, everyone.
Wait, what? Wedding? Nobody told me.
Right here. I brought the judge in it.
Wait, what?
Well, I put him here. I'll just speak for him. We'll stand here. All right? We'll face the judge.
Okay.
Woo. Welcome, everybody, to the wedding between Giselle and Whitley. Do you, my dear, take to be your unlawfully wedded husband, for better or worse, richer, you know, poorer, and I suppose mostly in health.
I do.
You got it. You didn't even have to tie you. And do you? Yes, I do. All right then. Other than the power invested in him somewhere, I pronounce us man and wife, and we may kiss the bride.
All right.
Oh, maybe later.
I don't know what's going on here. Queen of Canal Town's my butt. All right, folks, let's go ahead and proceed around the traffic circle. I'll fill you in on who I am over here.
Listen to the man.
Whoa! Around the traffic circle. This is in England, mates. Around the traffic circle. My goodness. Ever since the canal came in. Good grief. All right, let's not dilly-dally. Gather around, gather around. Folks, I'm the big cheese in these parts. You might know me as Chief Henry Hilborn. Now, they deliberately brought me into Palmyra because Palmyra is just a source of scum and villainy. Right? But I know about big city crime. I come from Avon. That's right. They brought me in special to clean up this town. And let me tell you, this town's got some problems. Okay? Any crime you can possibly think of. We've had chicken thieves. We've had arson. We've had speed demons. I caught some guy driving down the street. Must have been doing 20. Unbelievable. And I'll tell you, a lot of this, what's the cause of all this? It's the giggle water. That's right. Alcoholic beverages is what I'm talking about. It's done nothing but cause me misery. I've only been chief for about a year now. Okay, but I've seen my share of accidents. You see that little scar on my face? Yeah, that's a bullet grazing by. You know, it's all in a day's work around Palmyra. Another time, here's how bold these folks are. They set up a little ambush, if you will. And these guys, they disguise a mannequin, a dummy, as a woman. And they're like, oh, help, 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 this woman is in need of help. You know, misogynist, right? Well, people would come running up to help them, then they'd beat them up, they'd take their stuff. Well, I was going by on my motorcycle. Did I tell you I rode a motorcycle?
No.
I started the Wayne, Ontario Motorcycle Patrol. That's right. I wanted to call it Coppers on Choppers. I don't know if that's stuck or not. But I was driving by and I thought, that's got to be the ugliest woman I've ever seen in my life.
Oh dear.
Okay. So I hopped off and I went running. They went running in the woods. I was not able to catch them as I usually do. So be alert because they're still out there somewhere. Okay. Palmyra has had its share of problems, but like I said, bootlegging is probably the biggest one. And to be honest with you, it was the cause of my demise. Let me share a little story. I had some bootleggers in jail over in Canandaigua, and being the nice guy I am, I'm a nice guy. At Christmas time, I play Santa Claus. I help out around the community. I'm not just a cop, right? I'm a nice guy. So I went to visit them in the Canandaigua jail. You know, we had some treats, snacks, if you will. I went home that night, I wasn't feeling too good. And we called for the doctor. Doctor, not much he could do. Within a week, I was dead. Buried over there somewhere. Now here's the sad part. I've got a wife and kid. They're not sure if technically I was on duty at the time when this happened, so my wife never got a pension. Right. It's tragic. You know. But, you know, that's how people roll in Palmyra. So I try to keep law and order. I was only police chief for about a year. I died when I was 31. Don't let this baby face fool you. Okay. That's about all I have to say, other than don't break the law, keep your giggle juice under control, and for crying out loud, keep it under 20. All right? You heard me say that's all I have to say, right? Well, move along!
Everybody, what a beautiful night. Nice to see such a large crowd out enjoying this beautiful autumn evening. You don't get very many of these left this time of year. My name is Menzo Smith. I was born not very far from here in Ontario, New York, in April of 1839. My parents, David and Arvilla, had a nice little place for us up there, for us and my younger sisters, Isabel and Rosella. When the Civil War broke out, I enlisted in the 111th New York Infantry. I served in Company A from 64 to 65, and our regiment saw action at the campaign for Appomattox, where we lost 81 soldiers. After that, we were mustered out down around Alexandria, Virginia. I made my way back here to home. Married my wife, Hannah, in 1869, and we enjoyed living here and enjoyed our 4 children, 3 sons and a daughter. Our oldest son, Beal, was an active lawyer and politician in this very community. When I got out of the military, I didn't work very much, but I did do some farming over just around the corner in Macedon. And then when I wasn't busy, I enjoyed taking the trolley up into Rochester and buying books and doing some reading. It's one of my favorite things to do. In July of 1913, I attended the Gettysburg reunion, the 50th reunion, and even though I wasn't in the Army at the point when the Battle of Gettysburg happened, the 111th fought there and they suffered many casualties. So it was nice to go and see some of the remaining soldiers that I knew from the 111th and how they were carrying on. Unfortunately, in December of 1928, 4 months shy of my 90th birthday, I passed away. But I'm laid to rest here in this beautiful cemetery with right next to my parents and my wife and 2 of my sons. If you get the chance to visit the Palmyra Historic Museum, you can even see pictures of me and the Army service boots that I wore while I was in the military. They're on display there. My grandson and great-grandson had donated them there. With that, I bid you a great evening and hopefully enjoy the rest of your stroll through our cemetery here, and be safe tonight.
Thank you. Lovely lady. Hello, everyone. How are you all doing tonight? My name is Mary, and I'm from the Potter's Field. The Potter's Field is also known as the Pauper's Grave or Common Grave. This was a burial ground designated for the interment of impoverished or unidentified individuals. Oftentimes, the only marker for those buried here is the ground beneath our feet. No names, no headstones, just a patch of earth with no claim but time. We never had the luxury of being missed or mourned in a way that is remembered. Underneath that ground over there, beneath those simple plots of land, rest people worth telling about. Someone who could easily be any one of us. They are the lives lost to the margins of history, but are not any less important than the grand stories we cherish. Now, I'll tell you a little bit about my story. I was born here in Palmyra,
I was an only child and I never had any children. However, I was a seamstress. I worked long hours just like everybody else, but slipped through the cracks of history. I passed away in 1882 from tuberculosis when I was only 34 years old. When I passed, there was nobody to claim my body. That's how I ended up here, speaking with you all tonight. I had no one to mourn me at my funeral, just another procession for the poor, another person with nowhere else to go. Well, that's enough about me. If there's one thing you take with you tonight, let it be this. Every single person here had a story. A joy, a sorrow, a struggle, and a life. And while time may have erased their names, it cannot erase the lives lived. It is not always the loudest stories that are the most important. Sometimes it's the quietest ones that reveal the most. Good night, everybody.
Good night. Thank you, Mary.
Welcome.
Oh no.
Look, Black man's daughter.
Harriet Whitley, you come back here with my book!
Good evening, sir.
Good evening.
Good evening.
Good evening, all. You know, it was a night not unlike this. I received a telegram from the celebrated playwright, Mr. George Bernard Shaw, informing me of the opening night of a new play. Telegram read, "Mr. Churchill, I have 2 tickets for you waiting at the box office. Please come and bring a friend, if you have one." To which I responded, "Sorry, Shaw, can't come first night. Will come second, if you have one."
There you go.
Greetings all. Churchill's the name, Winston Churchill. Coming to visit the family here at the Palmyra Cemetery. Over the years, I've regaled you with tales of my life and exploits. I thought this evening I would focus on my maternal grandfather, the altogether remarkable Leonard Jerome. He was a man of such verve and audacity, the New World could scarcely contain him. Financier by trade, sportsman by passion, free spirit by nature. From humble beginnings, he grew to what the press of his day called the King of Wall Street, making and losing several fortunes, sometimes in the space of a single week. He was born in 1817 in Pompeii, New York, near Syracuse. One of 9 siblings, the family moved early to Palmyra, and Leonard spent much of his time tending to the family chickens on the family farm. Later, he joined his brothers at Princeton University, class of 1839. But when the money began to run out, he had to transfer to Union College in Schenectady, New York, from where he graduated. He learned law, he studied law with his uncle Hiram Jerome, and came back to Palmyra and worked with his brother Lawrence in Judge Jerome's offices. Now, Judge Jerome lays to rest here near your Civil War soldier. Just back up the hill a bit. In 1849, he met and married Clara Hall. Now, Clara Hall is the daughter of the Palmyra settlers, Ambrose Hall and Clarissa Wilcox Hall. Clarissa Wilcox, who it is said, from whom I received my red Indian blood. Now, in 1849, they were wed here in Palmyra in the Western Presbyterian Church, and by 1850, he had relocated his law office to Rochester, New York, and he and his brother Lawrence were the co-owners of the Rochester Daily American newspaper, the forerunner of your modern Democrat and Chronicle. Later in 1850, he moved the family to New York City, and he and his brother Lawrence made their initial fortune in a telegraph business. His exploits in New York were legion. Among the many victories he had, he partnered with Vanderbilt in many railroad adventures. In 1863, as a part of owner of the New York Times,
During the draft riots of '63, he defended the New York Times building with manning a Gatling gun at the doors to keep the rioters away. One of his other passions was horse racing, and he established Jerome Racecourse in the Bronx later in the 1860s, and the American Jockey Club. In 1865, the Jerome Mansion was completed at the corner of 26th Street and Madison Avenue in New York City. It was a modest home, featuring a breakfast room for 70, a dining room for 100, a theater with 600 seats, and a ballroom with golden fountains spouting champagne and cologne. The building was raised in 1967. It is no longer standing there in New York. Later in the 1860s, he ventured west on several hunting trips, led by the redoubtable Buffalo Bill Cody. A lover of opera, he was instrumental in the founding of the Academy of Music in New York City. It is said that the rival Metropolitan Opera House only came into existence when those who founded it couldn't get a box at Jerome's place. In 1852, President Millard Fillmore elected my grandfather to be the consul to Trieste. And when that happened, my grandmother Clara fell in love with European society, which created a long history of our family living, of my mother's family living in Europe. At one point, they lived on the Champs-Élysées in Paris, but in 1873, they were forced to flee because of the Franco-Prussian War. In 1873, that summer, while vacationing at the Isle of Wight, my mother, Jenny Jerome, caught the eye of Lord Randolph Churchill, and in April of 1874, they were married. I was born 7 months later. Now, my birth certificate says premature birth. What I have always said is, although I was present on the occasion, I have no recollection of the events leading up to it. As I said, Leonard was a lover of opera, perhaps even a lover of opera singers. Notably, perhaps Jenny Lind, the the Swedish songbird, for whom perhaps my mother was named Jenny. But Leonard, later in the 1880s, fell into ill health. And as his health turned, he turned away from business and more towards the racing business. In the late 1880s, he retired to England, and in 1891, he passed in the city of Brighton. On his deathbed, it was reported that he said, "I have left you all, pass it on." He was always very enchanted by his grandchildren, and rather bemused by their rather stuffy British upbringing. According to Leonard, the foundation of any gentleman is simply this: to be kind and to care for the well-being of others. I think that is something we can all agree to. Now, Leonard passed in 1891. He was first interred in England, but later his body was returned, and he now rests at the Greenwood Cemetery in Brooklyn alongside his wife Clara and their 8-year-old, their daughter Camille, who died in childhood at 8 years old. The story of Leonard Jerome is a story of America, the audacity that he brought, the American audacity and the British resolve came together in me, and in 1963, your President Kennedy bestowed upon me one of my greatest honors when he made me an honorary citizen of the United States, an honor that I accepted with humility and deep gratitude.
Well, Mr. Churchill,
yes.
I was going to ask you about Parliament.
I was telling you earlier
Yes.
about an evening in Parliament. I'll share this story as I wrap up. So, I was in Parliament late one night, and I had to use the gents. Excuse me, the off-color of this. And as I'm there, I stood at one end of the urinals, and at the other end was Mr. Clement Attlee, the leader of the opposition, a modest man who had plenty to be modest about. And I took a spot at the far end of the urinals, and Attlee called down to me and said, "Feeling a bit modest tonight, Churchill?" And I said, "No, not at all, Attlee. It's just that when you Labourite chappies see something large in private hands and working well, your first tendency is to nationalize it."
Oh my.
Well, thank you for that. And I
now have a date with the school teacher.
well, I bid you all a good evening. Thank you for stopping by.
How are you tonight, Mrs. Stevens? I'm good. Beautiful, beautiful. I love your flowers. Thank you. Are they borrowed? Yeah, I have a. You can grab it. I think you're good.
Hello everyone, my name is Margaret Stevens. I was born in Maine on April 2nd, 1880. Eventually my mother Clara and I moved here to Palmyra, where we spent a significant portion of our lives. I am my parents' only child, and I never decided to marry either. For the majority of my life, I taught high school algebra and Latin. I taught 8th grade in 1908, and Sibyl Phelps was one of my students. On November 2nd, 1918, I was the first woman in Palmyra, New York, to cast a vote in the election. I'm so truly proud and thankful for that opportunity. Women's suffrage and the right to vote were so important to me. During the later years of my life, I helped care for my mother until she passed away in 1918. We lived right here on Palmyra on Cuyler Street. Oh, how I loved that home. I hope that whoever lives there now loves that home just as much as I did. I then passed away at Ithaca at the age of 83. Today I am buried in this beautiful Palmyra cemetery along with my mother and stepfather. Well, I must get going now. Goodbye.
Life here. Quite happy about. Now, who's been here before and knows what's going to happen? That's fantastic. Shall we make sure nobody else gets in on this? Oh no, you stay there. So, anyone who wants to volunteer to be a participant, raise your hands. All right, my darling pirate love. Because you're a pirate now. The rules to this: those who raise their hands, it's not as fun. We picked the ones who didn't.
Okay.
So who would you like the first one to be?
Okay, I pick you in the flower sweatshirt.
Oh, excellent. Come here, my dear. You stand right over here. Who's our second?
That man right there in the green sweater. Yes.
You, sir. Welcome aboard. I need two more.
Okay, I pick you.
Come on aboard, sir. You can't hide now.
And lastly, you in the yellow.
Oh, welcome, my dear. Welcome to the ship. Join me. All right. All of you get to enjoy this. Them not so much. I introduce you to an enchanted chest. We can't open it with normal locks, but I know how we can open it. It requires all four of you. Who here plays an instrument? You do. That's fantastic. What do you play?
And my dad plays guitar.
Oh, so he does play an instrument too. I don't want to use you for that. We're going to use her to play an instrument. How about a trumpet?
Okay.
All right. Can you play the trumpet for me? We're going to have it. It's not going to open.
All right. Here we go.
Yeah, all ready. It was
Help me.
so loud we couldn't even hear it. It's deafening. All right, excellent. You, sir.
Yeah?
I need you to make the sound of an aardvark. An aardvark? I don't know. That's going to be a you problem. So when it comes time, you have to make that sound.
Okay.
Dear, how are you? That's awesome. How are you with little twinkle fingers? I'll be very careful. I had somebody set one of my pirates on fire the last time they did it. His name was Charlie, now he turned into twice charred Charlie. You are going to wiggle your fingers at their chest as hard as you can, okay? And you, sir, the most important thing of all. Those who've been here know what's going to happen and you don't. I need you to dance like a monkey. Oh. All right, so on the count of 3, you're going to do that, and we'll see this chest just pop open. Does that sound good?
Yep.
All right, are you all ready?
Yes.
All right, 1, 2, 3.
Ding, 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 ding.
You make a sound. You're not doing it good enough. Actually, wait. I put these keys here to remind me this one wasn't even locked. It's not even enchanted, I bet. Oh, look at that. There it is. My dear, our riches.
Oh my goodness.
What's
That's
mine is
amazing.
yours, and what's yours is mine now.